He was a billionaire who had everything money could buy. She was a waitress struggling to survive. When he visited his mother's grave that foggy morning, he never expected to find her there, crying over secrets that would shatter his world.
I'm sorry, do we know each other?
No. You don't know us?
But the truth was they knew each other very well. 6 years ago in Savannah, he had disappeared from her life without a trace, leaving behind more than just a broken heart.
Savannah, Georgia, 6 years ago. That's where we met, isn't it?
You disappeared, Logan. No goodbye, no phone number, nothing. You told me your name was Lucas Reed.
Now face to face at their mother's graves, the billionaire CEO discovers the waitress he abandoned is raising a secret that could change everything. Will Logan fight for the love he walked away from? And can Naomi ever trust the man who shattered her heart when she needed him most? Before we get into the story, comment below where in the world you're watching from today. The morning fog rolled across Oakwood Cemetery, wrapping around the marble headstones like ghostly fingers. Logan Royce pulled his black Tesla to a stop on the narrow gravel path and cut the engine. For a moment, he just sat there, staring through the windshield at nothing. 6 years. It had been 6 years since he'd buried his mother, and the pain was still as fresh as yesterday. He checked his watch, a custom-made timepiece worth more than what most people made in a year. 6:30 in the morning. No one would be here this early on a Sunday. That's exactly how he wanted it. Logan stepped out of the car, the cold morning air biting at his face. At 31, he was at the top of his game professionally. Founder and CEO of Royce Tech, a company valued at billions. His face had been on the cover of Forbes twice this year alone. But today, in this quiet cemetery, he was just a son visiting his mother's grave. He pulled his cashmere coat tighter around his tall frame and put on dark sunglasses, even though the sun was barely peeking through the fog. The glasses weren't for the sun. They were to hide the emotion he refused to show anyone. The path to his mother's grave was familiar. 5th row under the oak tree. The headstone was simple but elegant, just like Marianne Royce had been in life. Marianne Royce, beloved mother, her love was the light that guided us home. Logan placed a single white rose on the grave, a ritual he performed on the first Sunday of every month. He knelt down, not caring about the moisture from the grass seeping into his designer pants. "Hi, Mom," he whispered, his voice cracking slightly. "Business is good. We just launched the new security system. It would have made you proud." He fell silent, the words sticking in his throat. What else could he say? That he was lonely, that his massive penthouse felt empty every night, that success meant nothing without someone to share it with. No, those weren't thoughts Logan Royce allowed himself to have, let alone speak out loud. "Miss you," was all he managed to add. Then he heard it, a soft sobbing sound coming from somewhere nearby. Logan stiffened. He wasn't supposed to have company here. This was his private time, his sacred moment. Irritated, he stood up and turned toward the sound, and that's when he saw her. About 20 yards away, a young black woman knelt beside another grave. She wore a simple waitress uniform, blue with a white apron, and her shoulders shook as she cried quietly. But she wasn't alone. Beside her stood a small boy about 5 years old, holding her hand and looking around with curious eyes. Logan was about to turn away, to give them privacy, when the little boy suddenly looked directly at him. Even from this distance, something about the child's gaze made Logan freeze in place. The boy tugged at his mother's sleeve and whispered something. Though Logan couldn't hear the words, he saw the woman quickly look up, alarmed. When her eyes met Logan's, she immediately stood and pulled the child closer to her side. Something compelled Logan to walk toward them. He couldn't explain it. He normally avoided interaction at all costs, but his feet moved of their own accord. As he got closer, the woman's posture became more protective, one arm around her son's shoulders. She quickly wiped away her tears. With her free hand, "I'm sorry to intrude," Logan said, stopping a respectful distance away. "I just wanted to make sure you were okay." The woman's eyes widened slightly. "We're fine," she said, her voice steady despite the tear tracks on her cheeks. "Thank you." But the boy was staring up at Logan with undisguised curiosity. "Is that him, Mama?" the child asked, loud enough for Logan to hear this time. The man from the picture. The woman tensed visibly. Micah, hush, she whispered. Logan frowned, confused. I'm sorry, do we know each other? When she looked up at him, something in her expression, a mixture of pain, recognition, and resolution, made his heart skip a beat. No, she said firmly. You don't know us. But there was something in her eyes that told a different story. And now that he was closer, Logan couldn't help but notice the boy's features, the shape of his eyes, the set of his jaw. I'm Logan. Royce, he said, extending his hand without thinking. She hesitated, then briefly took his hand. Her touch sent an unexpected jolt through him. Naomi Ellis, she replied. And this is my son, Micah. Hi, the boy said, with a confidence that seemed beyond his years. Logan crouched down to the boy's eye level, an automatic gesture that surprised even himself. Hello, Micah. That's a strong name. It means, who is like God, the boy replied, proudly. Mama says it's because I'm one of a kind. Logan smiled despite himself. Your mama is right about that. He glanced at the headstone they had been visiting. Dorothy Ellis, it read, loving mother and grandmother. I'm sorry for your loss, Logan said, standing up again. Naomi nodded. My mother passed last month. She used to work in this area. What did she do? Logan asked, surprising himself again with his interest. She was a housekeeper for some of the families around here, Naomi replied, her eyes briefly flicking toward the direction of his mother's grave. A strange feeling came over Logan. Did she ever work for the Royce family? Naomi's slight intake of breath was answer enough. For about 10 years, she took care of Marianne Royce until she retired. The coincidence was too strange. Logan looked back and forth between Naomi and Micah, the gears in his mind turning. Something wasn't adding up. Have we met before? He asked directly. Naomi's gaze hardened. It's time for us to go. I have a shift at the diner in an hour, and Micah needs breakfast. She took her son's hand firmly. Say goodbye, Micah. Bye, Mr. Logan, the boy said, waving with his free hand. As they turned to leave, Logan called out, Which diner? Naomi paused but didn't turn around. Sunshine Diner on 5th Street. Then they were walking away, Micah looking back over his shoulder at Logan until they disappeared into the fog. Logan stood there for a long time, a strange uneasiness settling in his stomach. The boy's eyes, they had seemed so familiar, almost like looking in a mirror. And the way Naomi had avoided his questions. He walked back to his mother's grave, his mind racing with questions he couldn't answer. What am I missing, Mom? He whispered to the cold stone. Only silence answered him. The Sunshine Diner was exactly what its name suggested, a bright, cheerful place with yellow booths and chrome accents that had probably been installed sometime. In the 1950s, Logan felt completely out of place as he pushed open the glass door the next morning, the little bell announcing his arrival. He hadn't slept well. Images of Naomi and Micah had haunted his dreams, along with fragments of memories he couldn't quite piece together. There was something about Naomi that tugged at the edges of his mind, something he was missing. The diner was half full with the morning crowd, mostly working-class people grabbing breakfast before their shifts. Conversations hushed briefly as he entered, a few heads turning to look at the man in the $1,000 suit who clearly didn't belong. Logan slid into a booth near the back and picked up a laminated menu. His eyes scanned the room until he found her. Naomi was at the counter filling coffee cups and chatting easily with the regulars. She hadn't noticed him yet. A different waitress approached his table. Coffee? She asked, already pouring before he could answer. Thank you, Logan said. Is Naomi working this section today? The waitress, her name tag read Betty, raised an eyebrow. Friend of hers? Something like that, Logan replied vaguely. Betty smiled knowingly. I'll let her know. You're asking for her. Logan watched as Betty whispered something to Naomi at the counter. Naomi's head snapped up, her eyes finding him immediately. Her expression hardened, and she said something back to Betty, who shrugged and returned to Logan's table. She's pretty busy this morning, Betty said, but I'd be happy to take your order. Logan ordered black coffee and toast, not really hungry but needing a reason to stay. As Betty walked away, He saw Naomi deliberately turning her back to him, focusing intently on wiping down the counter. He was considering his next move when the bell above the door jingled again. A middle-aged woman entered, holding the hand of a small boy. "Micah! Mama!" Micah called out, spotting Naomi and running toward her. Naomi's face transformed instantly, lighting up with love as she crouched down to hug her son. "Hey, baby, did you have a good morning with Mrs. Garcia?" "We made pancakes," Micah announced proudly. The woman who had brought him in approached the counter. "He was an angel, as always," she said to Naomi. "I've got to run to my shift now. Same time tomorrow?" "Thank you, Rosa," Naomi said gratefully. "I don't know what I'd do without you." As Rosa left, Micah turned and spotted Logan. His face broke into a wide smile. "Mr. Logan!" he exclaimed, pointing. Naomi followed her son's gaze, her smile fading, as she saw Logan watching them. She whispered something to Micah, who nodded seriously, then handed him a small coloring book and led him to a booth in the corner where he could sit and entertain himself. To Logan's surprise, Naomi then marched directly to his table, coffee pot in hand. Without asking, she topped off his cup, then said in a low voice, "Why are you here?" "I wanted to talk to you," Logan replied honestly. "About what?" "About yesterday. About how your son seems to know who I am, even though we've never met." Naomi's knuckles whitened around the handle of the coffee pot. "This isn't the place?" "Then where is?" Logan pressed. "Because I'm not leaving until we talk." She glanced around the diner, then back at him. "I get off at 3. There's a park across the street. Micah likes the swings." "I'll be there," Logan promised. Naomi nodded curtly and moved to walk away, but Logan gently caught her wrist. "One more thing," he said. "Savannah, Georgia, 6 years ago, I was there for a consulting job." Her expression told him everything he needed to know. "That's where we met, isn't it?" he pressed. Naomi pulled her wrist away. 3 o'clock, she said firmly, then walked back to the counter. Logan watched her go, memories beginning to surface like bubbles in water. Savannah, the summer heat, a small jazz club near the river, a beautiful waitress with the most enchanting laugh he'd ever heard. And suddenly he remembered her name had been Naomi. The park was nearly empty at 3 in the afternoon on a Monday. Logan sat on a bench, having long since discarded his suit jacket and rolled up the sleeves of his dress shirt. He checked his watch for the 10th time. 3:15. Maybe she wasn't coming. Then he heard laughter, a child's high-pitched giggle, and looked up to see Naomi and Micah walking through the park entrance. Naomi had changed out of her waitress uniform into jeans and a simple blue sweater. Micah skipped alongside her, pointing excitedly at the playground. "Can I go swing, Mama?" he asked as they approached the bench where Logan sat. Naomi nodded. "Stay where I can see you." The boy raced off toward the swings, leaving the adults in an uncomfortable silence. "I wasn't sure you'd come," Logan said finally. Naomi sat down on the bench, leaving plenty of space between them. "I almost didn't. But you did." "Micah deserves answers," she said simply. "And so do you." Logan turned to face her directly. "He's my son, isn't he?" Naomi didn't flinch. She'd been expecting the question. "Yes." The confirmation hit Logan like a physical blow, even though he'd suspected it since yesterday. "Why didn't you tell me?" "How could I?" Naomi's voice was controlled, but tight with emotion. "You disappeared, Logan. No goodbye, no phone number, nothing. You told me your name was Lucas Reed, that you were a business consultant passing through town." Logan winced. It was true. 6 years ago, he'd been different, running from his grief, using a pseudonym to escape the attention his rising fame was bringing. "I never knew," he said quietly. "I tried to find you," Naomi continued, "for months after I found out I was pregnant. But Lucas Reed didn't exist. It wasn't until I saw your face in a magazine 2 years later that I realized who you really were. And you didn't reach out then?" Naomi's laugh was hollow. "What was I supposed to do?" "Call up the billionaire CEO of Royce Tech and tell him, 'Remember that waitress you slept with in Savannah? Surprise, you're a father.'" Logan looked over at Micah, who was pumping his legs on the swing, his face full of joy. "He's 5? 5.5, Naomi corrected. "His birthday is January 12th. Logan did the math in his head. 9 months after their time together in Savannah. I need to know everything about him, he said suddenly, turning back to Naomi. She seemed taken aback by his intensity. Why? What are you planning to do? I don't know yet, Logan admitted. But he's my son. I've missed 5 years of his life already. I don't want to miss any more. Naomi studied him carefully. This isn't about writing a check, Logan. Being a father means being present, consistent. Are you capable of that? The question stung because it hit on Logan's deepest insecurity. After his mother died, he had closed himself off emotionally, throwing himself into work instead of relationships. The idea of being responsible for a child's emotional well-being terrified him. I want to try, he said finally. I need to try. Naomi sighed, looking over at Micah. He's smart, curious about everything, loves dinosaurs and space, hates broccoli. But will eat it if I mix it with cheese. A small smile touched her lips. He has your eyes and your stubbornness. Logan felt a lump forming in his throat. Does he know about me? He knows his father was someone I met in Savannah who didn't know about him. I've never spoken badly of you. She paused. I have a picture, one I found in a business magazine. Sometimes he looks at it and asks questions. That's why he recognized me at the cemetery, Logan realized. Naomi nodded. I wasn't expecting to see you there. It was a shock. For both of us, Logan agreed. He hesitated, then asked, Why were you there? Was it just to visit your mother's grave? Naomi looked down at her hands. Partly, but also, my mother always spoke highly of Marianne Royce, said she was kind to her, treated her with respect. When I found out who you really were, I asked my mother about the Royces. She told me where Marianne was buried, and you went there hoping to see me, Logan finished for her. Not consciously, Naomi admitted, but maybe, deep down, yes. They sat in silence for a moment, watching Micah play. I want to be part of his life, Logan said finally. I know I have no right to ask that after everything, but I want to know my son. Naomi turned to face him fully. I need to be clear about something. I don't want your money. Micah and I have been fine on our own for 5 years. I put myself through culinary school at night while working days and raising him. We have a small apartment, but it's ours. I'm saving to open my own bakery someday. I understand, Logan said, though the thought of his son living in a small apartment when he had more money than he could spend in a lifetime bothered him. But I still want to help. We'll take it slow, Naomi said firmly. Micah needs stability, not confusion. You can't just walk into his life and then disappear again if it gets too hard. I won't disappear, Logan promised. Naomi's expression was skeptical. You'll have to prove that to both of us. Logan nodded, understanding the challenge. Can I meet him properly? Now? After a moment's hesitation, Naomi called out, Micah, can you come here for a minute? The boy jumped off the swing and ran over to them, slightly out of breath, his eyes bright with excitement. Did you see how high I was going, Mama? I did, baby. You're getting so good at pumping your legs. She put an arm around him. Micah, you remember Mr. Logan from yesterday? Micah nodded, suddenly shy. He's someone special that Mama knew a long time ago, Naomi continued carefully, and he'd like to get to know you better. Logan's heart was pounding as he looked at his son up close. The resemblance was undeniable. Micah had Logan's eyes, his jawline, even the same cowlick in his hair. Do you like dinosaurs, Micah? Logan asked, remembering what Naomi had told him. The boy's face lit up. Yes, T-Rex is my favorite because he has the strongest bite of any dinosaur ever. That's pretty impressive, Logan agreed, smiling. I've always liked the Triceratops myself. They have 3 horns, Micah informed him seriously. That's what their name means. You're very smart, Logan said, genuinely impressed. Micah beamed at the compliment. Mama says I get that from my dad, he said innocently. Logan's eyes shot to Naomi, who looked slightly embarrassed. Can I go back to the swings now? Micah asked. Sure, baby, Naomi said. Just 5 more minutes, then we need to head home. As Micah ran back to the playground, Logan turned to Naomi. You told him he gets his intelligence from me? Naomi shrugged. It's the truth. I wanted him to know good things about his father, even if he never met you. Something warm spread through Logan's chest, a feeling he hadn't experienced in years. Thank you for that. Don't thank me yet, Naomi warned. This is just the beginning of a very long road. I know, Logan acknowledged, but I'm not running away this time. As they watched Micah play, Logan felt something shift inside him, as if a door that had been locked since his mother's death was finally creaking open. He didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in 6 years he felt something dangerously close to hope. Same time tomorrow? He asked quietly. Naomi hesitated, then nodded. Same time tomorrow. Later that night in his penthouse, apartment overlooking the city, Logan stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows, a glass of whiskey in his hand. The city lights twinkled below, but his mind was far away. He had a son, a bright, beautiful boy who shared his blood but knew nothing of him. A child who had been growing, learning, and living for 5 years without him. Logan pulled out his phone and found himself scrolling through his camera roll to the photos he'd taken at the park when Naomi wasn't looking. Micah on the swings, his face alight with joy. His son. The word still felt strange, foreign on his tongue. Father. He was a father. Logan walked to his home office and opened the bottom drawer of his desk. Inside was a framed photograph, the only personal item in his otherwise sterile workspace. It showed a much younger Logan with his mother, both of them smiling, her arm around his shoulders. I have a son, Mom, he whispered to the photograph. His name is Micah. You would have loved him. For the first time since her funeral, Logan allowed himself to cry. 2 weeks had passed since Logan's discovery at the cemetery. 2 weeks of showing up at the park every afternoon at 3 o'clock, rain or shine. 2 weeks of slowly getting to know his son. Today Logan arrived early carrying a small gift bag. Inside was a plush triceratops, a peace offering of sorts. He checked his watch again. 10 minutes until Naomi's shift ended. Mr. Logan, a familiar voice called out. Logan turned to see Micah running toward him, Naomi following a few steps behind. The boy had started looking for him now, expecting him to be there. The thought made Logan's chest tighten with an unfamiliar feeling. Hey, buddy, Logan said, crouching down to Micah's level. I thought you and your mom were still at the diner. Betty let Mama leave early because it's slow, Micah explained importantly. His eyes fell on the gift bag in Logan's hand. What's that? Logan glanced up at Naomi, who had reached them. She gave a small nod of permission. It's for you, Logan said, handing the bag to Micah. The boy's eyes widened as he pulled out the stuffed dinosaur. A triceratops, just like your favorite. He hugged it to his chest immediately. Do you like it? Logan asked, suddenly nervous. I love it, Micah declared. I'm going to name him Three-Horn. Very creative, Naomi said with a smile, the first genuine one Logan had seen directed at him since their reunion. Can I go play with Three-Horn on the slide? Micah asked, already bouncing with excitement. Go ahead, Naomi said. Stay where we can see you. As Micah ran off, Dinosaur clutched tightly in his arms. Naomi sat down on their usual bench. You didn't have to bring him gifts, you know. Logan sat beside her, maintaining the respectful distance they'd established over the past 2 weeks. I know, I wanted to. He talks about you all the time now, Naomi admitted. Mr. Logan this, Mr. Logan that. Really? Logan couldn't hide the pleasure in his voice. Don't look so smug, Naomi said, but there was no bite to her words. Kids are easy. They don't have trust issues yet. The implied contrast with her own feelings hung in the air between them. I was thinking, Logan said carefully, maybe I could take him to the Natural History Museum this weekend. They have a new dinosaur exhibit. Naomi tensed slightly. You mean without me? No, Logan quickly clarified. All 3 of us. If you're free, that is. Naomi studied him for a moment. Why are you doing this, Logan? Really? What do you mean? This? She gestured vaguely. The daily visits, the gifts, wanting to spend weekends together. Is this just guilt? Or do you actually want to be a father? Logan took a deep breath. When my mother died, I shut down. Completely. I threw myself into work because it was easier than feeling anything. For 6 years, I've been going through the motions of living without actually being alive." He looked over at Micah, who was making the dinosaur climb up the slide. Then I saw him, and something woke up inside me. And what happens when that feeling fades? Naomi asked quietly. When the novelty wears off and you realize that being a parent is hard, unglamorous work? I don't know, Logan admitted honestly. I've never done this before, but I want to try. I need to try. Naomi was quiet for a long moment, watching Micah play. Saturday at 10, she finally said. The museum opens at 10. Relief washed over Logan. I'll pick you both up. No, Naomi said firmly. We'll meet you there. So I'm not ready for you to know where we live yet. Logan nodded, accepting her boundaries. I understand. And Logan, don't bring any more expensive gifts. We're not charity cases. The dinosaur was $20, Logan said defensively. A small smile tugged at the corner of Naomi's mouth. Good, keep it that way. Saturday morning found Logan pacing nervously outside the Natural History Museum. He'd arrived 20 minutes early, unable to sit still in his apartment. He'd changed clothes 3 times before settling on jeans and a simple button-down shirt, the least intimidating outfit he owned. His phone rang and Logan's heart sank when he saw the caller ID. James Whitaker, his chief operating officer. James, it's Saturday, Logan answered. I know, I'm sorry, James replied, sounding genuinely apologetic. But the Singapore deal is falling apart. Chen is threatening to walk if we don't renegotiate the terms immediately. Logan pinched the bridge of his nose. The Singapore deal was worth millions, possibly billions if it expanded as projected. Any other Saturday, he would have dropped everything and headed to the office. But not today. Tell Chen I'll call him on Monday, Logan said firmly. Monday? James sounded shocked. Logan, he's ready to sign with our competitors if we don't act now. Then let him, Logan replied, surprising even himself with his certainty. I have plans today that I'm not breaking. Plans? James repeated incredulously. What could possibly be more important than the Singapore deal? Logan spotted Naomi and Micah walking toward the museum entrance. Micah was clutching his triceratops and pointing excitedly at the giant T-Rex banner. Family, Logan said simply, I have to go. He hung up before James could respond. Logan waved, and Micah's face lit up when he spotted him. The boy broke free from Naomi's hand and ran toward him. Mr. Logan, did you see the big T-Rex? I did, Logan said, smiling. He looks pretty fierce, doesn't he? Naomi caught up to them, slightly out of breath. Micah, don't run off like that, she scolded gently. Sorry, Mama, Micah said, not looking very sorry at all. Can we go see the dinosaurs now, please? That's why we're here, Naomi said, her eyes meeting Logan's briefly. You look nice, she added, almost reluctantly. Logan felt a flutter in his chest at the small compliment. So do you, she did. Her curly hair was loose around her shoulders, and she wore a simple yellow sundress that brightened her complexion. It was a stark contrast to the waitress uniform he was used to seeing her in. Shall we? Logan asked, gesturing toward the entrance. Inside, Micah's excitement was contagious. He darted from exhibit to exhibit, reading the placards out loud with impressive skill for a 5-year-old. He's reading at a 3rd-grade level, Naomi explained when Logan commented on it. His kindergarten teacher says she's never seen anything like it. Pride swelled in Logan's chest. That's amazing. He gets his brains from you, Naomi said, echoing what she'd told Micah. I struggled just to get through high school. Don't sell yourself short, Logan said. You put yourself through culinary school while raising him alone. That takes more than brains. It takes determination and heart. Naomi looked surprised by the compliment, a faint blush coloring her cheeks. Thank you. They followed Micah to the next exhibit, a massive Brachiosaurus skeleton that towered above them. Wow, Micah exclaimed, his head tilted all the way back. It's as tall as a building. It sure is, Logan agreed, kneeling beside him. Did you know that these dinosaurs were so big that scientists used to think they lived in water because they didn't believe their legs could support their weight on land? Really? Micah's eyes widened. Really, Logan confirmed. But they were wrong. These giants walked on land just fine. You know a lot about dinosaurs, Micah said admiringly. I used to be obsessed with them when I was your age, Logan admitted. My mom would take me to museums just like this one. Where is your mom now? Micah asked innocently. Logan felt Naomi tense beside him, but he answered honestly. She died, about 6 years ago. Oh, Micah said softly. That's sad. Like Grandma Dorothy died. Yes, Logan nodded, just like that. But it's okay to be sad. Sometimes, Micah said, patting Logan's arm with his small hand. That's what Mama says. Being sad just means you loved someone a whole lot. Logan's throat tightened with emotion. Your mama is very wise. She makes the best cookies too, Micah added seriously, making both adults laugh. The tension broken, they continued through the museum, Micah running ahead to each new discovery, Logan and Naomi following at a more sedate pace. He's incredible, Logan said quietly as they watched Micah press his face against the glass of a fossil display. He is, Naomi agreed. Even on my hardest days, when I'm working double shifts and can barely keep my eyes open, he makes everything worth it. I've missed so much, Logan said, regret heavy in his voice. Naomi's expression softened. You're here now. That's what matters to him. And to you? Logan dared to ask. Does it matter to you that I'm here now? Naomi looked away. It's complicated, Logan. You hurt me badly. I know, he acknowledged, and I'm sorry. More sorry than I can say. I was so in love with you that summer, she admitted quietly. Or with who I thought you were. Lucas Reed, the mysterious business consultant who quoted poetry and danced with me in the rain. I was running away from myself back then, Logan said. After my mother died, I couldn't handle being Logan Royce anymore. The expectations, the responsibilities. So I became someone else for a while. But you went back to being Logan Royce, Naomi pointed out. And you never looked back. That's not entirely true, Logan said. I thought about you often. I just didn't know how to find you again. You didn't try very hard, Naomi said, but the accusation lacked its former heat. No, Logan agreed. I didn't, and that's on me. Before Naomi could respond, Micah came running back to them. Mama, Mr. Logan, they have a dinosaur dig for kids. Can I do it? Please? They followed him to an area where children were using brushes to uncover fake fossils buried in sand. A museum employee was supervising the activity. Go ahead, Naomi said with a smile. But don't get sand in your shoes this time. As Micah joined, the other children, Naomi and Logan, found a bench nearby where they could watch him. He needs a father, Logan, Naomi said suddenly. Not just a weekend friend who buys him toys and takes him to museums. He needs someone who will be there when he's sick at 3 in the morning, or when he has nightmares, or when he strikes out at his first t-ball game. I want to be that person, Logan said earnestly. I want to be his father in every way. It's not that simple, Naomi sighed. My life is in one world and yours is in another. You live in a penthouse and run a billion-dollar company. I work at a diner and live in a 2-bedroom apartment above a laundromat. Those are just circumstances, Logan argued. They can change. That's easy for you to say, Naomi replied. You can afford to change your circumstances. Some of us are just trying to survive. Logan hesitated, then asked carefully, Would you let me help? Financially, I mean. Not for you, if that makes you uncomfortable, but for Micah. Naomi's expression hardened. No. But, no, Logan, she repeated firmly. The minute you start paying for things is the minute this becomes a transaction, instead of a relationship. I've worked too hard to maintain my independence, Logan wanted to argue but held his tongue. I respect that, he said finally. But I hope someday you'll trust me enough to let me help in any way I can. Naomi's expression softened slightly. Let's just take this one day at a time, okay? Okay, Logan agreed. One day at a time. The museum visit stretched into lunch at a nearby cafe, which stretched into an afternoon at the park. Before any of them realized it, the sun was beginning to set. I should get Micah home for dinner, Naomi said reluctantly. He has school tomorrow. Logan nodded, surprised at how quickly the day had passed. Of course. Micah, who had been showing Logan how high he could swing, came running over when Naomi called him. Do we have to go already? It's almost dinner time, baby, Naomi explained, and you need a bath tonight. Can Mr. Logan come have dinner with us? Micah asked hopefully. Naomi hesitated, clearly caught off guard by the request. Not tonight, Micah. Maybe another time. When? Micah pressed, with the directness only a child could get away with. Naomi and Logan exchanged a look. We'll figure that out later, Naomi said diplomatically. Say goodbye to Mr. Logan. Micah's lower lip jutted out in disappointment, but he turned to Logan. Bye, Mr. Logan. Thank you for taking me to see the dinosaurs. You're very welcome, Logan said, crouching down to the boy's level. I had a great time today. Without warning, Micah threw his arms around Logan's neck in a tight hug. I had the best day ever, he whispered. Logan froze for a second, then wrapped his arms around his son, hugging him back. Something tight in his chest seemed to loosen, a warmth spreading through him that he hadn't felt in years. Me too, buddy, he said softly. Me too. As Micah pulled away, Logan stood up, meeting Naomi's gaze. Her eyes were suspiciously bright as she watched the interaction. I'll walk you to the bus stop, Logan offered. That's not necessary, Naomi began, but Micah interrupted. Yes, and Mr. Logan can carry me on his shoulders. Before Naomi could object, Logan had swung Micah up onto his shoulders, the boy's laughter ringing out as he suddenly found himself high above the ground. Be careful, Naomi cautioned, but she was smiling. The walk to the bus stop was short, with Micah chattering excitedly from his perch about everything they'd seen that day. When they arrived, Logan carefully lifted him down. Will I see you tomorrow? Micah asked Logan. Logan looked to Naomi for guidance. That's up to your mom. Naomi bit her lip, then nodded. We'll be at the park at our usual time. Then I'll be there too, Logan promised. The bus arrived, and Naomi took Micah's hand. Say goodbye again. Goodbye again, Micah parroted with a grin, making both adults laugh. As they boarded the bus, Logan felt a strange mix of emotions, joy from the day they'd shared, sadness at watching them leave, and a growing determination to somehow bridge the gap between their worlds. See you tomorrow, Naomi called softly just before the doors closed. Logan waved as the bus pulled away, staying until it was out of sight. Then he pulled out his phone and called his driver to pick him up. 20 minutes later, he walked into his penthouse apartment. The space that had once felt like a sanctuary now seemed empty and cold compared to the warmth of the day he'd just spent with Naomi and Micah. Logan wandered to the kitchen and opened the refrigerator, staring at the sparse contents, a few takeout containers, a bottle of expensive champagne, some protein shakes, nothing that resembled a real home. He thought of Naomi cooking dinner for Micah in their small apartment. He imagined them sitting at a table together, talking about their day, a real family. For the first time, Logan's wealth and success felt hollow. His phone buzzed with an email notification. James again, no doubt still panicking about the Singapore deal. Logan ignored it and instead opened his photos, scrolling through the pictures he'd taken today. Micah pointing excitedly at the T-Rex skeleton, Naomi laughing as Micah posed with a caveman exhibit, a selfie of all three of them that a kind stranger had offered to take. They looked like a family, like they belonged together. Logan's finger hovered over one particular photo, Naomi with her head thrown back in laughter as Micah made a funny face. He couldn't remember the last time he'd seen something so beautiful. On impulse, he sent the picture to the printer in his home office. A few minutes later, he was placing the printed photo in a silver frame and setting it on his bedside table. Reminder of what mattered. A promise to himself that he wouldn't walk away this time. The next few weeks fell into a comfortable routine. Logan would finish his workday early and meet Naomi and Micah at the park. Sometimes they'd just play on the swings, other times they'd get ice cream or visit the small duck pond nearby. Naomi gradually began to thaw toward him. Their conversations became easier, less guarded. She even laughed at his jokes occasionally, the sound making his heart race every time. One afternoon, about a month after their museum visit, Logan arrived at the park to find only Micah waiting. For him, supervised by an elderly woman he didn't recognize. "Mr. Logan," Micah called out, waving frantically. "Hey, buddy," Logan said, approaching cautiously. Where's your mom? She had to work late, Micah explained. Mrs. Peterson is watching me until Mama comes. The elderly woman stood up from the geese bench, eyeing Logan suspiciously. You must be the famous Mr. Logan, she said. Micah talks about you non-stop. So nice to meet you, Logan said, extending his hand. I'm Logan Royce. Ida Peterson, she replied, shaking his hand firmly. I live in the apartment next to Naomi and Micah. I watch this little monster sometimes when Naomi has to work extra shifts. Is everything okay? Logan asked, concerned. I mean, with Naomi having to work late. Mrs. Peterson's expression softened slightly. The diner's owner is sick, so they're short-staffed. Naomi's picking up the slack because she needs the money. She studied Logan for a moment. You're exactly as she described you, you know. Is that good or bad? Logan asked warily. Bit of both, I expect, Mrs. Peterson replied cryptically. She said you'd be by at 3, and that you'd want to spend time with Micah. She said I could go home if you showed up. Of course, Logan said immediately. I'd be happy to watch him until Naomi gets off work. Mrs. Peterson nodded approvingly. Good. My soap opera starts in 20 minutes anyway. She turned to Micah. You be good for Mr. Logan, you hear? Yes, Mrs. Peterson, Micah promised solemnly. As the older woman walked away, Logan turned to Micah. So what should we do today? Can we go to your house? Micah asked excitedly. I want to see where you live. Logan hesitated. I don't think your mom would like that, buddy. Please, Micah begged. I'll be super good. And we can surprise Mama with dinner. Logan was torn. On one hand, taking Micah to his apartment without Naomi's explicit permission felt like overstepping. On the other hand, the thought of preparing dinner for Naomi after her long shift was appealing. Let me call your mom first, Logan decided, pulling out his phone. To his surprise, Naomi answered on the second ring. Logan, is everything okay? Is Micah all right? Everything's fine, Logan assured her quickly. Mrs. Peterson had to leave, so I'm with Micah now. He wants to see my apartment, but I wanted to check with you first. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. I don't know, Logan. We could make dinner, Logan added. For when you get off work, you must be exhausted. Another pause, then a sigh. That's actually really thoughtful. I am pretty tired. She hesitated again. Okay, but please make sure he doesn't break anything expensive. I will bubble wrap him personally, Logan promised, making her laugh. Text me your address. I should be done around 7. After hanging up, Logan looked at Micah with a grin. Looks like you're coming to my place after all. Yay, Micah cheered, jumping up and down. Is it big? Do you have a swimming pool? Do you have video games? Logan laughed, taking the boy's hand. It's pretty big, no pool, and I might have a few games somewhere. His driver was surprised to see Logan with a child, but didn't comment as he opened the car door for them. Micah's eyes widened at the luxury vehicle. This is even fancier than a limo, he declared, bouncing on the leather seat. Logan smiled at his enthusiasm. It's just a car, buddy. A super fancy car, Micah corrected. When they arrived at Logan's building, the doorman tipped his hat respectfully. Good afternoon, Mr. Royce. Good afternoon, George, Logan replied. This is my friend Micah. We're going to make dinner tonight. Very good, sir, George said with a smile for Micah. Enjoy your evening. In the elevator, Micah was fascinated by the buttons. Which floor do you live on? The very top one, Logan told him. The penthouse. Wow, Micah breathed, pressing the button marked P with reverence. When the elevator doors opened directly into Logan's apartment, Micah's jaw dropped. I live here. The space was indeed impressive. Over 5,000 square feet of modern luxury, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of the city. It's just a place, Logan said, suddenly seeing the excessive opulence through Micah's eyes. Nothing special. It's the most special place ever, Micah declared, running to the windows. You can see the whole world from here. Logan smiled, watching his son's excitement. Want a tour? Yes, please. They explored the apartment together, Micah asking questions about everything. Why did Logan need so many bathrooms? Why was his TV so big? Did he ever get lost in his own house? In the kitchen, Logan opened the refrigerator, which was still embarrassingly empty. Looks like we need to go shopping if we're going to make dinner. Can we make spaghetti? Micah asked. That's Mama's favorite. Spaghetti it is, Logan agreed. Let's go to the store. The trip to the grocery store was an adventure in itself. Logan rarely shopped for food, usually ordering in or having his housekeeper stock basic items. Following Micah around as he enthusiastically pointed out what they needed was a new experience. Mama always gets the tomatoes that are squishy but not too squishy, Micah instructed seriously, showing Logan how to test them. You're quite the expert shopper, Logan observed, amused. I help Mama all the time, Micah said proudly. We have to be careful with money, so we only get what's on the list. The innocent comment hit Logan hard. While he never thought twice about spending money, Naomi and Micah had to count every dollar. Back at the apartment, Logan set up Micah at the kitchen island with a child-safe knife to help cut vegetables under close supervision, while he handled the stove. Mama says cooking is like a science experiment that you get to eat, Micah informed him as they worked. Your mama is a very smart woman, Logan said, smiling at the boy's endless stream of Naomi-related wisdom. By 6:30, they had a pot of spaghetti sauce simmering on the stove, garlic bread ready to go in the oven, and a simple salad prepared. Logan had even found a bottle of red wine that he thought Naomi might enjoy. Now we just need to set the table, Logan said, realizing he rarely used his dining table for actual meals. I know how to do that, Micah volunteered. Mama taught me. Together, they arranged plates, silverware, and napkins on the formal dining table that Logan usually used for spreading out work documents. It looks perfect, Logan said when they finished. Your mom is going to be surprised. At 7:15, the intercom buzzed. Mr. Royce, there's a Ms. Ellis here to see you. George, the doorman announced. Please send her up, Logan replied, feeling suddenly nervous. The elevator doors opened and Naomi stepped out, still in her waitress uniform, looking tired but beautiful. She stopped short, taking in the transformed space, the set table, the smell of home cooking, and Micah running toward her with a hand-drawn place card. Mama, we made you dinner, and I helped chop the onions and I only cried a little bit. Naomi knelt to hug him, her eyes meeting Logan's over Micah's shoulder. You did all this? She asked softly. Logan shrugged, trying to appear casual despite his racing heart. It was Micah's idea. He's quite the chef in training. It smells amazing, Naomi admitted, standing up and looking around the apartment. This place is... wow. It's just a place, Logan repeated what he'd told Micah. Nothing special. Nothing special, Naomi echoed with a small laugh. Just a multi-million-dollar penthouse with a view that people would kill for. The company is what makes it special, Logan said quietly. Not the square footage. Something shifted in Naomi's expression, a softening around her eyes. That's a nice thing to say. I meant it, Logan replied. Their gazes held for a moment until Micah tugged on Naomi's hand. Mama, I'm hungry. Can we eat now? The spell broken, Naomi laughed. Yes, baby, we can eat now. Dinner was the most enjoyable meal Logan could remember, having in years. Micah chatted non-stop about their grocery adventure and cooking experience, while Naomi gradually relaxed, even accepting a glass of wine. This sauce is delicious, she said, sounding genuinely surprised. I didn't know you. Could cook. I can follow a recipe, Logan admitted, and I had an excellent sous chef. He winked at Micah, who beamed with pride. After dinner, Micah's energy finally began to wane. He yawned widely as they cleared the table. I think it's time to get you home, young man, Naomi said, noticing the yawn. But I'm not tired, Micah protested weakly, even as his eyelids drooped. I'll call my driver to take you home, Logan offered. That's not necessary, Naomi began her usual protest, but Logan cut her off gently. Please, Naomi, it's late, you're tired, and it's the least I can do after you worked a double shift. After a moment's hesitation, she nodded. Thank you. While Logan called his driver, Naomi helped Micah put on his jacket. The boy was practically asleep on his feet. I should carry him down, Logan suggested. He's about to fall over. Without waiting for permission, he scooped Micah up, the boy's head immediately nestling against his shoulder. The trust in the gesture made Logan's throat tight with emotion. My driver will be out front in 2 minutes, he said softly. Naomi nodded, gathering her purse. As they rode the elevator down, she looked at Logan holding her sleeping son. "He likes you," she said quietly. "A lot." "The feeling is mutual," Logan replied, his voice equally soft. "I'm starting to think you might actually be serious about this." Naomi admitted. "About being in his life? I am," Logan assured her. "I've never been more serious about anything." In the lobby, George held the door open for them and Logan's driver was waiting by the curb. Carefully, Logan placed Micah in the back seat, buckling him in without waking him. "Text me when you get home safely?" Logan asked Naomi as she slid in beside her son. "I will," she promised. Then, impulsively, she leaned forward and kissed Logan's cheek. "Thank you for dinner. And for everything today." Before Logan could respond, she closed the car door. He stood on the sidewalk watching as the car pulled away, his hand touching the spot where her lips had been. It wasn't much, just a brief kiss on the cheek, but it felt like the beginning of something that terrified and thrilled him in equal measure. The following Sunday, Logan found himself once again at Oakwood Cemetery, standing before his mother's grave. But this time, he wasn't alone in his grief. "Hi, Mom," he said softly. "I brought someone to meet you." He glanced down at Micah, who stood solemnly beside him holding a small bunch of daisies. "Go ahead, buddy," Logan encouraged gently. Micah stepped forward and carefully placed the flowers on the grave. "Hello, Grandma Marianne," he said in his clear, sweet voice. "I'm Micah. I'm 5.5 years old, and I like dinosaurs and space and chocolate ice cream." Logan felt tears prick his eyes as Micah continued his innocent introduction. "Daddy says you would have liked me a lot, and that you would have given me lots of hugs and read me stories. I think I would have liked you too, Daddy." It was the first time Micah had called him that. They hadn't officially told him yet that Logan was his father, but children were perceptive. Somehow Micah had figured it out on his own. A few yards away, Naomi stood watching, her own eyes suspiciously bright. When Logan had asked if he could take Micah to visit his mother's grave, she had insisted on coming along, though she'd given them privacy for the actual visit. Micah finished his little speech and returned to Logan's side, slipping his small hand into Logan's much larger one. "Did I do okay?" he whispered. "You did perfect," Logan assured him, squeezing the tiny hand gently. "I think my mom would have loved you very, very much. Just like you love me." Micah asked innocently. Logan knelt down, looking his son in the eyes. "Yes, Micah, just like I love you." "Good," Micah said with a satisfied nod. "Because I love you too, Daddy." The word hit Logan like a physical force, stealing his breath. "Micah," he began carefully, "you know I am your daddy, right?" Micah rolled his eyes in a perfect imitation of his mother. "Duh, you have the same eyes as me. And Mama has the picture of you by her bed, and she looks at it sometimes when she thinks I'm sleeping." Logan's heart skipped a beat at this revelation. "She does?" "Uh-huh," Micah confirmed. "And she looks sad sometimes, but happy sad, you know." "I think I do know," Logan said softly. He glanced over at Naomi, who was pretending to be very interested in a nearby tree. The thought of her keeping his picture, looking at it when she was alone, stirred something deep inside him. "Should we go get some ice cream?" Logan suggested, standing up and taking Micah's hand again. "Yes," Micah agreed enthusiastically. "Can Mama come too?" "Of course." As they walked toward Naomi, Logan felt lighter than he had in years. His son's hand in his, the woman he was increasingly certain he still loved waiting for them. It was more than he deserved, but exactly what he needed. "Ice cream?" he asked Naomi when they reached her. "Ice cream," she agreed with a smile. They walked out of the cemetery together. Logan couldn't help but feel that his mother was watching, approving of this new family he was slowly, carefully building. A family that just might be his path back to love. 2 months had passed since Micah had first called Logan Daddy, and Logan's life had transformed in ways he never imagined possible. His calendar, once filled with back-to-back meetings and business dinners, now had blocks of time dedicated to park with Micah or dinner with N&M. Today was special. For the first time, Naomi had agreed to let Micah stay overnight at Logan's apartment. They had plans to build a blanket fort, watch dinosaur movies, and make chocolate chip pancakes in the morning. Logan checked his watch. Almost time to pick Micah up from school. He'd rearranged his entire day for this, pushing meetings and conference calls to make sure he could be there when the bell rang. Mr. Royce, his assistant Jennifer, called from the doorway of his office. "The board members are asking when you'll be joining the quarterly meeting. They've been waiting for 20 minutes. Logan cursed under his breath. He'd completely forgotten about the quarterly board meeting. "Tell them I'm sorry, but I have to reschedule," he said, already grabbing his coat. Jennifer's eyes widened. "Reschedule?" "But, sir, all the major shareholders are there. Mr. Whitaker specifically said—" "I know what James said," Logan interrupted, a note of irritation in his voice. "But I made a promise to my son, and I'm not breaking it." The word son hung in the air between them. Logan hadn't officially announced Micah's existence to anyone at the company, though rumors had begun to circulate. "Your son," Jennifer repeated cautiously. Logan paused, realizing what he'd revealed. "Yes, Jennifer, my son. His name is Micah. He's 5, and he's expecting me to pick him up from school in exactly 30 minutes. A small smile formed on Jennifer's face. "I'll reschedule the board meeting, sir, and congratulations." "Thank you," Logan said, surprised by her easy acceptance. "I should have told you sooner." "It explains a lot," Jennifer replied cryptically. "The changes in your schedule, the toy store receipts I've been processing, the way you've been smiling. More." Logan hadn't realized his transformation had been so obvious. "Is that bad?" "Not at all," Jennifer assured him. "It's nice to see." Logan nodded, touched by her words. "I'll be out of the office until tomorrow morning. Forward any emergencies to my cell." "Will do." "Have fun with your son, Mr. Royce." The words filled Logan with a warm pride that no business accomplishment had ever matched. Naomi was waiting outside Sunshine Elementary when Logan arrived. She looked different today. She'd traded her waitress uniform for a pretty blue dress, and her hair was styled in loose curls around her shoulders. "You look beautiful," Logan said as he approached. A faint blush colored her cheeks. "Thank you, I had a job interview." "An interview? That's great," Logan said, genuinely pleased for her. "Where?" "Riverside Bakery," Naomi replied, a hint of excitement in her voice. "As an assistant pastry chef. It's not my own place, but it's a step closer. They'd be lucky to have you," Logan said sincerely. Before Naomi could respond, the school doors burst open and a flood of children poured out. Micah spotted them immediately and came running, his backpack bouncing against his small frame. "Daddy, Mama," he called, throwing himself into Naomi's arms first, then Logan's. "Is it time for our sleepover?" "It sure is, buddy," Logan confirmed, ruffling the boy's hair. "I've got everything ready. We're going to have a great time." Micah's excitement was contagious, his smile so wide it seemed to light up the entire schoolyard. "Can we build the fort first and watch Jurassic Park and stay up super late?" "Whoa, slow down," Naomi laughed. "Remember the rules we talked about." Micah's expression turned serious. "Listen to Daddy. Brush my teeth before bed, and no staying. Up past 9. "That's right," Naomi nodded approvingly. She turned to Logan. "His bag has everything he needs. Pajamas, toothbrush, his favorite stuffed dinosaur, and his allergy medicine just in case." "Got it," Logan said, taking the small overnight bag from her. "We'll be fine, Naomi, I promise." She bit her lip, clearly anxious about their first night apart since Micah was born. "I know, it's just hard to let go," Logan finished for her. "I understand." Their eyes met in a moment of perfect understanding. For all their differences, they shared the most important thing in the world, their love for Micah. "Call me if you need anything," Naomi said. "Anytime, day or night." "I will," Logan promised. "But try to enjoy your evening off. Read a book, take a bath, watch something that isn't a cartoon." A small smile played at her lips. "That does sound nice. Ready to go, Micah?" Logan asked. "Ready," Micah confirmed, taking Logan's hand. "Bye, Mama. Don't worry. I'll take care of Daddy." Naomi laughed, leaning down to kiss his cheek. "I'm sure you will, baby." She straightened up and after a moment's hesitation, gave Logan a quick kiss on the cheek as well. "Have fun, you two." Logan's skin tingled where her lips had touched. These small gestures of affection had become more frequent lately, each one making his heart race like a teenager's. "We'll see you tomorrow," he said, his voice slightly rougher than usual. As they walked to Logan's car, Micah chattering excitedly about his day at school, Logan found himself glancing back at Naomi. She stood watching them, a mixture of emotions on her face, worry, love, and something else that Logan couldn't quite identify, but she was smiling, and that was enough for now. "Daddy, this is the best." "Thought ever," Micah declared, surveying their creation. Logan had to admit it was impressive. They'd used every spare blanket, sheet, and pillow in the penthouse to transform the living room into a massive fort. The coffee table served as the central support, with blankets draped over the sofa and chairs to create a cozy cavern. Inside, Logan had placed battery-operated string lights that cast a warm, magical glow. "It's pretty cool, isn't it?" Logan agreed, crawling in beside Micah. "I never had a fort like this when I was your age." "Never?" Micah looked shocked. "Nope. My dad wasn't really the fort-building type." "Was he mean?" Micah asked bluntly. Logan considered the question. "Not mean exactly, just absent. He was always working, always busy with important business. I didn't see him much." "That's sad," Micah said, his face serious. "But you're not like that. You're a good daddy." The simple statement hit Logan with unexpected force. "I'm trying to be," he said softly. "You are," Micah insisted. "You play with me and read stories and make pancakes." "That's what good daddies do." Logan swallowed the lump in his throat. "Thank you, buddy. That means a lot to me." "Can we watch the movie now?" Micah asked, easily moving on as children do. "Absolutely. But first, I think this fort needs some snacks." They raided the kitchen, filling bowls with popcorn and arranging cookies on a plate. Logan had stocked the refrigerator with Micah's favorite juice boxes and had even learned to make hot chocolate from scratch. Back in the fort, they settled in with their feast, the TV visible through the door of their blanket castle. Logan had chosen the kid-friendly version of Jurassic Park, mindful of Naomi's warnings about nightmares. Halfway through the movie, Micah suddenly asked, "Daddy, do you love Mama?" Logan nearly choked on his popcorn. "What? Do you love Mama?" Micah repeated patiently. "Because she loves you. She told Aunt Rosa so." Logan's heart skipped a beat. "She said that?" Micah nodded solemnly. "She was talking on the phone and she didn't know I was listening. She said she thinks she never stopped loving you even when you were gone." "Micah," Logan said carefully, "sometimes grown-up feelings are complicated. That's what Mama always says." Micah sighed dramatically. "But it's not complicated. If you love someone, you just tell them." Out of the mouths of babes, Logan thought. "You're pretty smart, you know that." Micah grinned. "I know, now watch, this is the best part." They returned their attention to the movie, but Logan's mind was elsewhere. Naomi still loved him. Despite everything, his disappearance, the years of absence, the hurt he'd caused, she still loved him. And he loved her too. He had sensed that. Summer in Savannah, even if he hadn't been brave enough to admit it back then. The question was, what was he going to do about it now? The next morning, Logan woke to find Micah already up, sitting cross-legged beside him in the blanket fort, looking at a photo album. "Morning, buddy," Logan said, stretching. "What have you got there?" "Pictures," Micah replied simply. "Of you and Grandma Marianne." Logan sat up, surprised. He'd forgotten about the album he'd stored on the bookshelf. "Where did you find that?" "On the shelf. I was being quiet so you could sleep." Micah pointed to a photo of a teenage Logan with his mother. "You look like me here." "No," Logan corrected gently. "You look like me. You got your mom's smile, though, and her kind heart." Micah turned the page to a photo of Marianne in her garden, laughing at the camera. "She was pretty. She was beautiful," Logan agreed, "inside and out." "Do you think she would have liked me?" Micah asked, a hint of insecurity in his voice. Logan put his arm around his son's small shoulders. "She would have adored you, Micah. You would have been her whole world." "Like I'm your whole world?" Micah asked innocently. "Exactly like that," Logan confirmed, his throat tight with emotion. They spent the morning making the promised chocolate chip pancakes, which turned out slightly misshapen, but delicious. After breakfast, they cleaned up the fort, got dressed, and prepared to meet Naomi at the park as planned. As they were about to leave, Logan's phone rang. It was James Whitaker. "Logan, we need to talk," James said without preamble. "The board is concerned about your recent distractions." Logan glanced at Micah, who was putting on his shoes. "This isn't a good time, James." "It never is anymore," James replied, frustration evident in his voice. "Look, I'm happy that you found this family situation, but the company needs your full attention right now. The Singapore deal is just the beginning. We've had 3 major clients express concerns about your commitment." "My commitment?" Logan repeated, anger rising. "I founded this company. I've given it 10 years of my life. And now you're giving that time to someone else," James said bluntly. "The board is meeting tomorrow morning. There's talk of asking you to step down as CEO to take a chairman position instead." Logan felt like he'd been punched in the stomach. "They can't do that." "They can if they vote together," James warned. "I'm on your side, Logan, but you need to show them that Royce Tech is still your priority." "I'll be at the meeting," Logan said tersely. "And James, Royce Tech has never been my priority. It's been my escape. There's a difference." He hung up before James could respond. "Daddy, are you okay?" Micah asked, looking concerned. Logan forced a smile. "I'm fine, buddy. Just some boring work stuff. Ready to go see Mama?" Micah nodded enthusiastically, the moment of tension forgotten. But as they drove to the park, Logan's mind was racing. For the first time in his career, he was facing the possibility of losing control of his company. The company he'd built from nothing, the company that had been his refuge after his mother's death. A few months ago, the threat would have consumed him. Now, looking at Micah in the rearview mirror, Logan realized that his priorities had shifted so completely that the news didn't devastate him the way it once would have. What devastated him was the thought of disappointing Naomi and Micah if he had to refocus on work. The thought of missing moments like last night's fort building or this morning's pancake making. The thought of becoming his own father, always absent, always too busy. He wouldn't let that happen. Somehow, he had to find a way to balance it all. Naomi was waiting on their usual bench when they arrived at the park. Her face lit up at the sight of Micah running toward her. "Mama, we had the best time ever," Micah exclaimed, launching into her arms. "We built a huge fort and watched dinosaur movies and had popcorn, and Daddy made chocolate chip pancakes this morning." "Sounds like you had quite the adventure," Naomi laughed, hugging him tightly. She looked up at Logan. "Everything went okay?" "Perfect," Logan assured her, sitting down beside them. He was a model guest. "Did you brush your teeth?" Naomi asked Micah, who nodded vigorously. "And I took my medicine and put my dirty clothes in the special bag, just like you said." "That's my good boy," Naomi said, kissing the top of his head. Logan watched them together, his heart full. This was what mattered. This was real. "Can I go play on the swings?" Micah asked. "Sure, baby, we'll be right here watching," Naomi replied. As Micah raced off to the playground, Naomi turned to Logan. "Thank you for last night. It was the first time I've had an evening completely to myself since he was born." "What did you do with your freedom?" Logan asked. "Took a bubble bath, ordered Chinese food, and fell asleep on the couch by 9, Naomi admitted with a laugh. "Wild times." "Sounds perfect," Logan smiled. "You deserved it." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, watching Micah play. "How was the job interview?" Logan asked finally. "Good, I think," Naomi said. "They seemed impressed with my culinary school background. The head pastry chef said she'd call me by the end of the week." "They'd be crazy not to hire you," Logan said. "You're talented, dedicated, hard-working, and you're biased," Naomi finished for him. But she was smiling. "Maybe a little," Logan admitted. He hesitated, then added, "Naomi, there's something I wanted to talk to you about." Her expression turned serious. "That sounds ominous." "It's not exactly." Logan ran a hand through his hair, suddenly nervous. "I've been thinking a lot about us, about our situation." "Our situation? You, me, Micah. This arrangement we have, meeting at the park, occasional dinners, me picking him up from school sometimes." Logan took a deep breath. I want more. Naomi's eyes widened slightly. More? I want us to be a real family, Logan said, the words tumbling out now. I want to wake up with you both every morning. I want homework at the kitchen table and family movie nights and arguments about whose turn it is to do the dishes. Logan, Naomi began, but he pressed on. I know it's fast. I know we still have a lot to work through, but I love Micah and I love... Don't, Naomi interrupted, her voice shaking slightly. Don't say it if you don't mean it. Logan gently took her hand. I love you, Naomi. I think I've loved you since that summer in Savannah. I was just too broken, too scared to admit it. Tears welled in Naomi's eyes. You hurt me so badly, Logan. I know, he acknowledged. And I will spend the rest of my life making it up to you, if you'll let me. It's not that simple, Naomi said, wiping away a tear. We come from different worlds. Your life is board meetings and billion-dollar deals. Mine is double shifts and discount groceries. Those are just circumstances, Logan insisted, echoing his words from months ago. They don't define us, but they shape us, Naomi countered. I've worked so hard to stand on my own, to build a life for Micah and me. I can't just give that up. I'm not asking you to, Logan said. I would never want you to give up your dreams or your independence. I just want to be part of your life, both your lives completely. Not just for a few hours at the park or occasional sleepovers. Naomi looked at him for a long moment. What exactly are you proposing, Logan? Move in with me, he said simply. You and Micah, my place is more than big enough. Or we could buy a house together, something that feels like ours, not just mine. You could pursue your bakery dream without worrying about making rent. Micah could have his own room, a yard maybe. And what about your company? Naomi asked. I've seen how your phone never stops, how you're always checking emails even when you're with us. Logan hesitated, thinking of James's call. The company is important to me, he admitted. But not as important as you and Micah. I can find a balance. Can you? Naomi asked, not unkindly. Your work has been your whole life for so long. It was my hiding place, Logan corrected. A way to avoid feeling anything after my mother died. But I'm not hiding anymore, Naomi. I want to feel everything, the good and the bad. I want a real life with you. Naomi's expression softened, but she still looked uncertain. I need time to think about this, Logan. It's a big decision. I understand, Logan said, trying to hide his disappointment. Take all the time you need. Daddy, Mama, look how high I can go, Micah called from the swings. They both turned to wave at him, their conversation momentarily on hold. Whatever you decide, Logan said quietly, nothing will change with Micah. I'll always be his father. I know, Naomi replied, squeezing his hand. That's one thing I never doubt. The board meeting the next morning was tense from the moment Logan walked in. 10 faces turned to stare at him, most with expressions ranging from concern to outright disapproval. Gentlemen, ladies, Logan greeted them, taking his seat at the head of the table. I understand you have concerns about my leadership. James. Whitaker cleared his throat. Logan, we've noticed a significant change in your focus over the past few months. The Singapore deal fell through because you weren't personally involved. The new security system launch was delayed twice, and you've missed 3 major investor meetings. All valid points, Logan acknowledged, and I take full responsibility for those issues. The question, said Eleanor Reed, one of the oldest board members, is whether you can continue to effectively lead this company given your new personal commitments. Logan knew exactly what she meant. The rumors about Micah had spread throughout the company. My personal commitments, as you put it, have a name, Logan said, keeping his voice level. My son, Micah. And yes, he is my son. I only discovered his existence a few months ago, and I've been trying to build a relationship with him and his mother. A murmur went around the table. Logan had just confirmed what had only been speculation until now. While we all respect family obligations, Eleanor continued, Royce Tech requires undivided attention at this critical growth stage. With all due respect, Eleanor, Logan replied. I founded this company. I've poured 10 years of my life into it. Often at the expense of everything else, I worked 80-hour weeks. I missed holidays, birthdays, funerals. I sacrificed any semblance of a personal life. He looked around the table, meeting each board member's eyes, and do you know what that got me? A successful company, yes, but also an empty penthouse that I hate coming home to. No meaningful relationships, nothing real. The room was silent now, everyone listening intently. I'm not going to make that mistake again, Logan continued. My son deserves a father who's present, who shows up, who puts him first. But that doesn't mean I can't still lead this company effectively. How do you propose to do both? James asked, skeptical but not hostile. Logan took a deep breath. By delegating more, by trusting the exceptional team we've built, by focusing on the truly critical decisions and strategies rather than micromanaging every aspect of the business. He pulled a folder from his briefcase and passed copies of a document to each board member. This is a restructuring proposal. I'm suggesting we create a co-CEO position. James, I'd like you to step into that role. We'd divide responsibilities based on our strengths, with overlap on major decisions. James looked stunned. Co-CEO? You've been with me almost from the beginning, Logan said. You know this company as well as I do, and frankly, you're better at some aspects of the job than I am. Eleanor Reed was studying the proposal with interest. This is actually quite thoughtful, Logan. A balanced approach. I'm not walking away from Royce Tech, Logan assured them. I'm just creating space in my life for something equally important. My family. The word felt right on his tongue. Family. His family. I move that we table the discussion about removing Logan as CEO and instead consider this co-leadership proposal, Eleanor said, surprising everyone. I'd like time to review the details. I second that motion, said another board member. A vote was taken, and the motion passed unanimously. Logan felt a weight lift from his shoulders. Thank you for your confidence, he said sincerely, and for understanding that balance isn't weakness, it's wisdom. After the meeting, James pulled Logan aside. That was unexpected, he said. Co-CEO, you deserve it, Logan told him. And I meant what I said. You're better at parts of this job than I am. Does this have anything to do with that woman and her son? James asked bluntly. Naomi and Micah, Logan corrected him. And yes, it has everything to do with them. They've changed my life, James, for the better. James studied him for a moment. You know, I've never seen you like this before. You seem, I don't know, lighter somehow. I feel lighter, Logan admitted. For the first time since my mother died, I feel like I'm living, not just existing. Then, so I'm happy for you, James said, offering his hand. Partner. Logan shook it, grateful for his friend's support. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a very important meeting to get to. Another board member? James asked. No, Logan smiled. A kindergarten t-ball game. My son is playing. The elementary school field was crowded with parents and siblings, all cheering enthusiastically for the small children attempting to play t-ball. Logan arrived just as Micah's team was taking the field, spotting Naomi easily in the bleachers. Did I miss anything? He asked, sliding onto the bench beside her. Just the world's longest explanation of the rules, Naomi replied with a smile. You made it. I promised I would, Logan reminded her. I know, but... Naomi hesitated. Your meeting was today. I wasn't sure. Nothing is more important than this, Logan said firmly. The meeting went well, by the way. I proposed some changes that will let me be more present for you and Micah. Naomi looked surprised. You're changing your work for us. I'm finding balance, Logan clarified. Something I should have done a long time ago. Before Naomi could respond, Micah spotted them from the field and waved enthusiastically. They both waved back, smiling at his excitement. Look at him, Naomi said softly. He's so happy you're here. I'm happy to be here, Logan replied. After a moment, he added, have you thought any more about what we discussed yesterday? Naomi nodded slowly. I have, actually. I've been thinking about it non-stop. And? Logan prompted, heart racing. And I think we should take it slow, Naomi said carefully. I'm not ready to move in together yet. Logan tried to hide his disappointment. I understand. But, Naomi continued, taking his hand, I do want more for all of us. Hope flared in Logan's chest. What are you saying? I'm saying that I love you too, Logan Royce, Naomi said softly. I never stopped, even when I wanted to. And I'm willing to try building a life together step by step. What's the first step? Logan asked, squeezing her hand. Dinner, Naomi said with a smile. At my place this time. I want you to see how we live where we've been without you. No more meeting on neutral ground. I'd like that, Logan said sincerely. Very much. And then maybe, Naomi continued, we can talk about finding a place that's ours. Not your penthouse, not my apartment. Something new for our fresh start. That sounds perfect, Logan agreed, his heart full to bursting. Their attention was drawn back to the field as Micah's turn. At-bat was announced. The little boy approached the tee with determination, his helmet slightly too big for his head. You can do it, Micah, Logan called. We're right here, baby, Naomi added. Micah looked over at them, grinned, then turned his attention to the ball. His first swing missed completely, but he didn't give up. The second swing connected, sending the ball rolling towards second base. Run, Micah, run! Everyone shouted. Micah took off, his little legs pumping as fast as they could. He made it to first base just in time, turning to beam at his parents with pure joy. Naomi and Logan cheered loudly, both on their feet. In the excitement, Naomi turned to Logan and without hesitation kissed him full on the lips. It was their first real kiss since reuniting, and it felt like coming home. When they broke apart, slightly breathless, Logan rested his forehead against hers. I love you, he whispered. Both of you. So much. We love you too, Naomi replied, her eyes shining with tears and happiness. Our family is finally complete. On the field, Micah was jumping up and down on first base, waving at them. They waved back, a family finally united after years apart. That night, after dropping Naomi and Micah at their apartment with plans to return for dinner the next evening, Logan drove to Oakwood Cemetery. The moon was full, casting silver light over the headstones. He knelt beside his mother's grave, placing a fresh white rose on the marble. Hi, Mum, he said softly. I wish you could see us now. Me, Naomi, Micah. We're finding our way to each other, becoming a real family. The night was quiet, peaceful. You always told me that love was worth the risk of pain, Logan continued. I didn't understand that until now. Until them. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves of the oak tree, almost like a whisper of approval. I think you left me more than grief, Logan said, echoing the thought that had been growing in his heart for months. I think you left me a way back to love. As if in answer, the clouds parted, allowing the moonlight to shine more brightly on the simple headstone. Logan smiled, feeling his mother's presence in a way he hadn't in years. Thank you, he whispered, not just to his mother, but to whatever fate or chance had brought him to the cemetery that foggy Sunday morning, when a little boy had looked at him with his own eyes and changed his life forever. As Logan stood to leave, his phone chimed with a text message from Naomi. Micah wants to know if you'll read his bedtime story over the phone tonight. Logan smiled, typing back, Call me in 10 minutes, I'll be waiting. He walked back to his car, heart lighter than it had been in years. Tomorrow would bring dinner at Naomi's apartment. Next week, perhaps they'd start looking at houses together. And in the months and years to come, who knew what joys awaited them? For the first time in his adult life, Logan Royce was looking forward to the future, not for what he could achieve or acquire, but for the love he could give and receive. He was finally coming home. 3 months had passed since Logan and Naomi had decided to build a life together. Spring had turned to summer, bringing warmer days and new beginnings. They had found a house, not too large, but spacious enough for their small family, with a backyard where Micah could play and a kitchen that made Naomi's eyes light up with possibilities. Today was moving day. Logan stood in the driveway directing the movers as they carried boxes from the truck. The kitchen boxes go straight through to the back, he instructed. And be careful with that one. It has my son's dinosaur collection. The word son still gave him a thrill every time he said it. 6 months ago, he hadn't known Micah existed. Now he couldn't imagine life without him. Daddy, Micah called, running from the backyard. I found a frog, a real one. That's awesome, buddy, Logan said, crouching down to his level. Where is it? I let him go in the garden because Mama said no frogs in the house, Micah explained. Seriously? But I named him Fred. Fred the frog, Logan nodded. Very fitting. Where's Mama? Micah asked, looking around. She had to pick up the keys to her new bakery, Logan reminded him. Remember? Today's a big day for her too. Micah's face lit up. The bakery! Can we go see it? As soon as she gets back, Logan promised. For now, want to help me set up your room? Yes, Micah exclaimed, already running back toward the house. Logan smiled, watching him go. Moving in together had been a big step, but not their only one. With Logan's backing, Naomi had secured a small storefront for her dream bakery. She had insisted on a proper business loan rather than a gift, but Logan had quietly arranged favorable terms through his banking connections. It wasn't just about the money, though. It was about supporting each other's dreams, about building a partnership based on mutual respect. As if summoned by his thoughts, Naomi's car pulled into the driveway. She stepped out, waving a set of keys triumphantly. It's official, she called. Ellis Bakery is really happening. Logan walked over to embrace her, lifting her off her feet in his excitement. I'm so proud of you, he said, setting her down gently. I couldn't have done it without you, Naomi admitted, reaching up to touch his face. Yes, you could have, Logan countered. It just might have taken a little longer. Naomi smiled, standing on tiptoes to kiss him softly. Thank you for believing in me, always, Logan promised. Now there's a very excited 5-year-old waiting to see his mom's new bakery. 6, Naomi corrected. He'll be 6 next month, remember? How could I forget, Logan replied. He's only been talking about his dinosaur-themed birthday party for weeks. Micah appeared at the door, bouncing with excitement. Mama, can we go? See the bakery now, please, please, please. Let me catch my breath first, baby, Naomi laughed. I just got home. This isn't home yet, Micah pointed out seriously. It's still just a house. Home is when all our stuff is inside and we're all together. Logan and Naomi exchanged a look, both touched by their son's wisdom. He gets that from you, Logan murmured. No, that's all you, Naomi replied with a smile. The philosophical side. Can we go now? Micah interrupted, still bouncing. Okay, Naomi relented. Let's go see the bakery. Ellis Bakery was located on a charming street, lined with small businesses. A bookstore, a coffee shop, a flower stand. The storefront was modest, but had good foot traffic and large display windows. It's perfect, Logan said as they pulled up. It's small, Naomi countered, a hint of nervousness in her voice. It's a beginning, Logan reminded her. Every great business starts somewhere. Naomi squeezed his hand gratefully, then turned to Micah in the back seat. Ready to see Mama's bakery? Yes, Micah exclaimed, already unbuckling his seatbelt. Inside, the space was empty, except for the commercial fixtures left by the previous tenant. Display cases, a counter, some industrial shelving. But Naomi walked through it as if she could already see exactly what it would become. The display cases will go here, she said, gesturing, and we'll need tables along this wall for customers who want to eat in. The kitchen already has most of what I need. Industrial mixers, ovens, prep tables. And a special corner for the owner's son, Logan suggested, watching Micah explore the space. Definitely, Naomi agreed. A little homework station where he can come after school. When do you open? Logan asked. 6 weeks, Naomi replied. Just enough time to decorate, hire an assistant, develop my menu, get all the permits finalized, and move into our new house, Logan added. Are you sure you're not taking on too much at once? Naomi's expression turned serious. I've been waiting for this moment my whole life, Logan. Working double shifts, putting myself through culinary school at night, saving every penny. I'm ready. I know you are, Logan said sincerely, and I'll help however I can. Just having you and Micah believe in me is enough, Naomi said softly. Can I be the official taste tester? Micah asked, rejoining them. Absolutely, Naomi laughed, ruffling his hair. I'll need an expert opinion on all my cookies. As they locked up and headed back to the house to continue unpacking, Logan felt a sense of contentment he'd never experienced before. This was what happiness felt like. Not the temporary high of closing a big deal or launching a new product, but the steady warmth of building a life with people you love. 2 weeks later, the house was finally beginning to feel like home. Pictures hung on the walls, furniture was arranged just how they wanted it, and Micah's dinosaur collection had a place of honor on shelves in his room. Logan had been splitting his time between the office and home, the new co-CEO arrangement with James working better than anyone had expected. He was able to focus on the aspects of the business he truly enjoyed, innovation, strategy, vision, while James handled the day-to-day operations and client relationships. Tonight was special, though. For the first time since moving in, they were hosting dinner for some friends. Naomi's best friend Rosa and her husband, and James Whittaker, who had yet to meet Naomi and Micah properly. "Are you nervous?" Logan asked, finding Naomi in the kitchen, putting the finishing touches on an elaborate dessert. "About what?" she asked, not looking up from her work. "Meeting James. My work world colliding with our home life." Naomi set down her piping bag and turned to face him. "A little," she admitted. "He's been such a big part of your life for so long. I want him to like me." "He'll love you," Logan assured her, wrapping his arms around her waist. "Both of you." "How could he not? I'm not exactly the kind of woman people expect to see with Logan Royce, billionaire CEO," Naomi pointed out. "No," Logan agreed. "You're better, you're real." Naomi smiled, relaxing against him. "I love you, you know that?" "I had a hunch," Logan replied, kissing her forehead. "And I love you too. More every day." The doorbell rang, interrupting their moment. "That'll be Rosa and Miguel," Naomi said, checking her watch. "Right on time, as usual." "I'll get it," Logan offered. "You finish your masterpiece." He opened the door to find Rosa and her husband Miguel, both carrying bottles of wine. Rosa had been Naomi's friend since culinary school and had been a second mother to Micah over the years. "The house is beautiful," Rosa exclaimed, stepping inside and looking around appreciatively. "Much better than that sterile penthouse of yours." Logan laughed, taking the wine. "Hello to you too, Rosa." "Don't mind her," Miguel said, shaking Logan's hand. "She says exactly what she thinks." "It's why we love her," Logan replied good-naturedly. "Naomi's in the kitchen, and Micah is probably in his room with his dinosaurs. Make yourselves at home." As Rosa headed for the kitchen, Miguel looked around the living room. "You've done well here, Logan. It feels like a real home." "That's all Naomi," Logan admitted. "I wouldn't know where to begin." "It's both of you," Miguel corrected. "A home is built by the people who live in it, not just the one who decorates it." Before Logan could respond, the doorbell rang again. "That'll be James," Logan said, moving to answer it. James Whittaker stood on the doorstep, looking uncharacteristically nervous, a bottle of expensive scotch in his hand. "Welcome to our home," Logan said, ushering him inside. "Nice place," James commented, looking around. "Smaller than I expected." "We wanted something that felt like a home, not a showcase," Logan explained. "Come meet Naomi and Micah." He led James to the kitchen, where Naomi was chatting with Rosa while putting the final touches on dinner. She looked up as they entered, wiping her hands on a towel. "James, this is Naomi Ellis," Logan said proudly. "Naomi, my friend and business partner, James Whittaker." "It's wonderful to finally meet you," Naomi said, extending her hand. "Logan talks about you all the time." "All. Good things, I hope," James replied, shaking her hand. "And likewise, you've certainly had a profound effect on him." "For the better, I hope," Naomi said with a smile. "Definitely for the better," James confirmed. "He actually smiles at the office now. It was terrifying at first. Everyone laughed. The initial tension broken. "Micah," Naomi called. "Come meet Mr. Whittaker." Micah appeared from his room, slightly shy but curious. "Hello," he said politely. James crouched down to the boy's level. "Hello, Micah. Your dad has told me a lot about you. I hear you're quite the dinosaur expert." Micah's face lit up. "Do you like dinosaurs too?" "I don't know much about them," James admitted, "but I'd love to learn." "I can show you my collection after dinner," Micah offered. "I'd like that," James said sincerely, as they all moved to the dining room. Logan caught James's eye and mouthed a silent "thank you." James nodded in understanding. his initial skepticism about Logan's new family clearly fading as he witnessed their happiness firsthand. Dinner was a lively affair, with conversations flowing easily between work talk, bakery plans, and Micah's school adventures. By the time dessert was served, Naomi's spectacular chocolate mousse cake, it felt as if they had all been friends for years. "A toast," James proposed, raising his glass, "to new beginnings, new partnerships, and the family. That has made my friend happier than I've ever seen him." "Hear, hear," Miguel agreed, raising his glass. "To family," Logan said, looking at Naomi with love in his eyes. As glasses clinked around the table, Logan felt a sense of completion. His work life and his home life were no longer separate entities, but harmonious parts of a whole. This was balance. This was peace. The weeks flew by in a blur of activity. Naomi was busy preparing for her bakery opening, working long hours to perfect recipes and train her small staff. Logan juggled his reduced but still demanding work schedule with being present for Micah and helping with the bakery preparations whenever he could. Micah's 6th birthday arrived on a perfect summer day. The backyard was decorated with dinosaur, balloons and streamers, a Jurassic Park banner hanging over the picnic table laden with prehistoric-themed treats. "Do you think we have enough food?" Naomi asked nervously, surveying the spread. It was the first time they were hosting Micah's school friends and their parents. "We have enough to feed a small army," Logan assured her. "Or a herd of hungry brontosauruses." "Brontosauri," Micah corrected automatically as he passed by, already wearing the dinosaur costume Logan had given him that morning. "My apologies, Professor," Logan laughed, tipping an imaginary hat. The party was a success, with children running through the sprinkler, engaging in fossil digs, plastic dinosaurs buried in the sandbox, and devouring dinosaur-shaped cookies. That showcased Naomi's baking skills. As Logan watched Micah blow out the candles on his volcano cake, surrounded by friends and beaming with happiness, he felt a lump form in his throat. This was what he had missed for the first 5 years of his son's life. He silently vowed never to miss another important moment. Later, after the guests had gone and Micah was in bed, exhausted but happy, Logan found Naomi sitting on the back porch steps, looking at the stars. "Penny for your thoughts," he said, sitting beside her. "Just thinking about how much has changed in a year," Naomi replied. "Last year at this time I was working double shifts to afford Micah's birthday party at the pizza place. I had no idea you even existed anymore, except as a memory and a magazine photo. And now," Logan prompted, "now we're here in this beautiful house planning a future together." She turned to look at him. "It's more than I ever dared to hope for." "There's something I've been wanting to ask you," Logan said, taking her hand. "Something I've been thinking about for a while now." Naomi's eyes widened slightly. "Logan, I'm not very good at grand romantic gestures," he continued, "but I know what I want, and it's you. You and Micah, for the rest of my life." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. "Naomi Ellis, will you marry me?" Naomi stared at the box, then at Logan's face. "Are you sure this isn't just because of Micah?" "I'm sure," Logan said firmly. "I love Micah with all my heart, but I also love you. Completely, entirely, for exactly who you are. Even when I'm stubborn and independent and refuse your help?" Naomi asked, a small smile playing at her lips. "Especially then," Logan assured her. "Your strength is one of the things I love most about you." Naomi took a deep breath. "Then yes, Logan Royce, I will marry you." Logan opened the box to reveal a ring, not ostentatiously large, but elegant and classic, with a central diamond flanked by smaller sapphires. "It's beautiful," Naomi breathed as he slipped it onto her finger. "It reminded me of your eyes," Logan explained. "And look inside the band." Naomi tilted the ring to read the inscription. "A way back to love." "From what you said at your mother's grave," Naomi realized, tears filling her eyes, "that she left you a way back to love." "She did," Logan confirmed, pulling Naomi close. "She led me to you and Micah." They sat together under the stars, planning their future in quiet voices, dreaming of all that was to come. The day of Ellis Bakery's grand opening dawned bright and clear. Naomi had been up since 4 in the morning, preparing the first batches of pastries, breads, and cakes. Logan had taken Micah to school with a promise to pick him up early so he could attend the opening. By 9:45, a small crowd had gathered outside the bakery, drawn by the mouth-watering aromas and the elegant window display. Naomi, wearing a crisp chef's coat with Ellis Bakery embroidered on the pocket, stood behind the counter trying to calm her nerves. "Everything looks amazing," Logan assured her, adjusting the display of business cards by the register. "They're going to love it." "What if they don't?" Naomi worried. "What if no one comes back after today?" "Then we'll eat pastries for dinner every night until they're gone," Logan said lightly. "But that's not going to happen. Your food speaks for itself." "Naomi." At precisely 10 kais, Logan unlocked the door and flipped the sign to open. Customers immediately began streaming in, exclaiming over the beautiful displays and inhaling the delicious scents. The first sale, a box of assorted pastries, went to Mrs. Peterson, who had watched Micah for them during the move. "I wouldn't miss this for the world, dear," she told Naomi. "I've been telling everyone in my building about your baking." By noon, half the display cases were empty, and Naomi's assistant was frantically bringing out fresh batches from the kitchen. Logan had taken over cashier duties, freeing Naomi to greet customers and explain her creations. When Micah arrived from school, his eyes widened at the busy scene. "Wow, Mama, your bakery is famous already." "It looks that way, doesn't it?" Naomi laughed, hugging him tightly. As the afternoon wore on, the initial rush slowed to a steady stream of customers. Several had already asked if they could place special orders for upcoming events. "I'd say that's a successful first day," Logan observed as they prepared to close at 6. "Beyond my wildest dreams," Naomi agreed, her eyes shining with happiness and pride. "I can't believe this is really happening." "Believe it," Logan said, kissing her softly. "You've worked so hard for this. You deserve every bit of success." After closing, they took Micah for a celebration dinner at his favorite restaurant. The boy couldn't stop talking about how proud he was of his mama and how all his friends at school were jealous that he got to eat fresh cookies whenever he wanted. "Not whenever you want," Naomi corrected with a laugh. "Special occasions only." "Like birthdays?" Micah asked hopefully. "Like birthdays," Naomi confirmed. "And Tuesdays," Logan added with a wink to Micah. "Tuesdays are definitely special occasions." "Logan." Naomi protested, but she was smiling. Later that night, after Micah was asleep, Logan found Naomi sitting at the kitchen table, going through the day's receipts with a look of wonder on her face. "I still can't believe it," she said as he sat down beside her. "My own bakery, a real home, you and Micah." She looked down at the engagement ring sparkling on her finger. "Sometimes I'm afraid I'll wake up and it will all have been a dream." "Not a dream," Logan assured her, taking her hand. "Just a second chance for both of us." "Do you ever regret it?" Naomi asked suddenly. "Walking away that summer in Savannah?" Logan considered the question carefully. "I regret hurting you," he said finally. "I regret missing the first 5 years of Micah's life, but I don't know if we would have been ready for each other back then. I was still running from my grief, and you were just starting your journey." "Maybe everything happens when it's supposed to," Naomi suggested. "Maybe," Logan agreed. "Or maybe we make our own timing by being brave enough to recognize love when we find it again." Naomi leaned her head against his shoulder. "Either way, I'm grateful. For now, for you, for our family." "Me too," Logan whispered, kissing the top of her head. "More than I can say." 1 month later, on a perfect autumn Sunday, Logan found himself once again at Oakwood Cemetery. But this time the visit wasn't tinged with loneliness and grief. This time his heart was full. He knelt beside his mother's headstone, clearing away some fallen leaves. "Hi, Mom," he said softly. "It's been quite a year." The cemetery was peaceful in the early morning light, the mist rolling between the headstones, just as it had on that fateful day when he'd first seen Naomi and Micah. "I'm getting married next month," Logan continued. "Small ceremony, just family, and close friends. Micah is going to be the ring bearer. He's very excited about his special job." Logan placed a white rose on the grave, continuing his monthly tradition. "Naomi's bakery is doing amazing. Lines out the door some mornings. And Micah started first grade. He's reading at a third-grade level now. You would be so proud of him." Gentle breeze rustled the leaves of the oak tree overhead. "I still miss you every day," Logan admitted, "but it's different now. The grief doesn't consume me anymore. I found joy again, Mom. Real, lasting joy." He traced the engraved letters of his mother's name with his fingertips. "I think you left me more than grief," he whispered. "I think you left me a way back to love." Suddenly a hand touched his shoulder. Logan didn't need to turn to know who it was. He recognized her touch, her presence. Naomi stood behind him, her expression soft, with understanding. She didn't say a word. She just took his hand. Logan rose to his feet, drawing strength from her touch. Together they stood before Marianne Royce's grave, their fingers intertwined. "She would have loved you," Logan said quietly. "I wish I could have known her," Naomi replied. "Other than through my mother's stories." "In a way you do know her," Logan said. "Through me, through Micah. She's part of us all." Micah waited a respectful distance away, placing a small toy dinosaur beside the white rose. "So, Grandma Marianne won't be lonely," he explained when he rejoined them. Logan lifted his son into his arms, wrapping his other arm around Naomi's waist. The three of them stood together, a family forged through loss and found again through love. As they walked back to the car, Logan looked back one last time at his mother's grave. For a moment, he could almost see her standing there, smiling at the family he had found, the love he had reclaimed. "Ready to go home?" Naomi asked, squeezing his hand. Home. Not his empty penthouse or her small apartment, but the place they had built together, filled with laughter and love and the promise of all the years to come. "Yes," Logan said, his heart full. "Let's go home."